Welcome to Cocktails and Confidence. My name is Key.
My name is Moo.
And we are back with another episode. And today we want to discuss finding peace and being alone. So, no fuck buddies, no friends with benefits. You know, maybe you don't have a girlfriend yet, you don't have a boyfriend, husband, wife, whatever. We want to talk about just finding acceptance with being by yourself and just kind of how that looks. I feel like we could talk about that. We can really talk about that because we've both been single for a very long time, and over time we have just learned to really be okay with that, not feeling like something's wrong with us or you know, because we haven't found that perfect person, that it's a problem, you know, no one likes us, no one wants to be with us. It's not that, right?
Yeah.
So we just want to go over some points.
You already know how we come in.
You know, we like points because we like to point you in the right direction or whatever. So we want to discuss some points that we've gathered that we feel like just helps you to understand that being alone is okay, and that you have to find peace with it in order to accept the fact that you are alone and there's a reason behind it, right? So getting right into, first of all, we thank you so much for supporting us. We want to thank you for subscribing to our YouTube channel, clicking that like button, and leaving us comments and everything. We appreciate it so much because, I mean, that's what we do it for. We do it for your interaction. We do it for, you know, you all. We do it to help. And then we just like sharing conversations that people don't normally typically share. Not saying that people don't have these conversations, but people don't share them often. So I think it's nice to let it be known that it is okay to have these conversations with people, like your friends, the people who are closest to you. And if you can't have conversations like this with people around you, then you should question those who are around you, because this is the epitome of being comfortable with who you are and being accepted by those around you, which is not always important when you're searching for acceptance, but for people that are close to you and that you spend the most time with and you talk to the most, they should accept you. So me and Moo have these conversations all the time. We don't just hop on YouTube and have these conversations. We talk about these things all the time as friends. We help one another understand things. We share our experiences amongst one another, just to kind of give us both insight and different perspectives on things. So we've gathered these points together and we want to share them with you.
Yes. And don't forget to hit that notification bell.
Like, so you can get notified on, you know, when we post a new episode, for sure. So getting into finding peace with being alone, first point that we've gathered is that nobody has the ability to complete you. You are in charge of your life and finding what fulfills you. A lot of people may beg to differ, especially if you are in a relationship. You may think that, well, I'm in a relationship and I found a person that completes me. Well, I've been in relationships, right? Regardless of whether or not I'm in one now. I've been in a relationship, I've been married before, and I've said that before to a person. I've said, hey, you complete me. Yeah. Without really realizing that a person can't really complete you. You know what I mean? Like, you have to know who you are first. Yes. Before even understanding what it means to be complete or to be whole. Because to be complete means to be whole, and if you feel like another person has to be in your life in order to make you complete, my question is, what happens if that person leaves, or if push comes to shove, you find out that's not your person? What happens then? You know what I mean? It's not, completeness is not a temporary thing. You know what I mean? You don't just find a person, they complete you, and then now you're complete. Or if that person dies, or that, you know, just, I need to be harsh about it, but that person dies, that person leaves this earth, or you you separate, then now you're looking lost and crazy, like, who the fuck am I?
Yeah.
Because all along I thought this person completed me, because after saying something so much, or after just speaking something into existence, you start to feel that way, right? You start to follow along with those words, and you kind of get yourself to believing that. So I feel like we have normalized and we've utilized that terminology so much that we started to believe that a person could really complete us, because we use those terms as words of endearment, like, you complete me. You know what I mean? It sounds nice when you're telling a person, like, oh,
Right.
you're what I've been searching for all my life. You complete me.
Yeah.
And, you know, it even makes you feel like you've reached a point of, okay, now I have everything I need. This person completes me. When that is something that you should have already found prior to even meeting that person, right? Or even coming together with another person. So we feel like there's just no such thing as a person completing you.
Yeah.
And I've had this conversation with many people in relationships, people who are single, and I almost always get the response that, well, from people in relationships, they tell me things like, well, this person does complete me. This person makes me better. This person has taught me things outside of what I have known prior to that. Now, I'm not saying people don't add to you. But, you know, and then the more I get that person or these people to elaborate, they say, but still, I understand that it's on me to find me. And I'm like, well, there can't be any buts to it. You know, if there's a but, and behind that but is, well, I still have to have me, well, then that person's not really completing you then. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's just something we say so much that we just kind of fall victim to believing that that's what it is.
Yeah.
I don't feel like it. I've said it before too, and now being the person that I am and being alone and finding myself throughout this journey, I'm learning that, like, that is a job and a duty of my own. Like, no one can complete me. You know, only I know what's best for me, and who knows you better than you do. Right. At the end of the day, there's not enough that a person could tell you about yourself or teach you or help you to understand or see that's going to get you to realize who you are. Because at the end of the day, it takes some work from you to figure that out. Like, a person could teach you a million things, but it still is up to you to apply those things to your life and to really take action. So if you never do that, then you never really find yourself, or, you know, find what makes you whole. So it definitely takes some work on our end. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that people can't add to you. Like, I definitely feel like people do come into your life and bring a difference in perspective. Of course, why else connect with people if that wasn't the case? But I don't think that connection is brought about to complete you. Yeah. In a sense.
What do you feel like makes us feel that we have to say that a person completes us? Is it that it's a void that we're feeling, or is it emotional? You know what I mean? Like, if you can think back to the times when you said someone completed you, what truly made you feel that way?
A combination of all those things. So yeah, it's definitely emotions. Your emotions get involved, and you know, you get a little soft, you know, when you meet that person that you feel like you're so head over heels for. And then also, I do feel like it's voids that you're attempting to fill with other people and what they bring to you. And now it's like, okay, for instance, I, you know, didn't have this before, and now this person is in my life and they know this thing that I don't understand. I found that completeness now, you know what I mean? So that to me does sound like a void. You know, it does seem like you're feeling something that you didn't already come with, which I do still feel like it's up to you to figure that out. I don't care if you show me the way. It still is up to me to go and apply those things to my own life. You could show a person anything. It doesn't mean that they're going to do it. Doesn't mean they're going to become that. Doesn't mean it's going to stick to them. You know, so I do definitely feel like it is a void. It is voids that we're filling when we feel like a person is completing us or fulfilling what it is that we have yet to do ourselves. So.
Right. because people can give you advice all day long, but it takes we have to do it. We have to want to have to fix that issue. We have to want to get to meet the other person's standards. Like, we still have to do the work at the end of the day. And I definitely agree with, nobody can complete me like I can complete I can only complete myself, because I should know exactly what I need, my wants, my desires, and all those things. And it's just being alone and knowing that you have yourself, and knowing that there's just certain things that only I can do for myself, and I just don't want to put that expectation on another person.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, expectations can kill you sometimes, because people truthfully won't live up to those expectations.
They can't always meet them.
Right, because
it's not even their fault.
And because people only have the capacity to understand at the level that they understand. Just like it's just vice versa. Like myself, I only have the capacity to understand at the level that I do. So if somebody comes and challenges me and I don't understand it, or I can't meet that standard, I'm not gonna kill myself or beat myself down because I can't fulfill the need that you want. That person has to understand that, okay, I'm not the one for them. I can't fill that void, you know what I mean? And they have to move forward. And it's for me to realize, like, okay, maybe this just ain't it for me.
Or it's not, like, maybe you're not the one. Maybe it's not the right timing. You know what I mean? Like, maybe it's, again, something you need to deal with outside of me that I can't help you with, because it's not for me to fix. Which takes us into our next point. No one else is responsible for fixing you. You know what I mean? I think with being alone, we get to understand that, okay, there's things that I'm learning about myself that I could be better at, that I could do better, that I could work on. You know what I mean? And when you spend so much time with another person, it's really hard to work on those things on your own without feeling like that person has to help you with it, or has to take part in it, which is not always the case. You know what I mean? Again, I do believe that people can come into your life and show you something different. That is the point of bonding with people. It does not mean that it is their responsibility to fix that, though. Because there's work that needs to be done on your end at the end of the day. You can take advice, you can not take advice, you can learn from a person, but still at the end of the day, it's your life. You have to take control over it. You have to do the work. So no one's responsible for fixing you. That is your responsibility. Whatever baggage you have to deal with that on your own. That's not for somebody else to fix. If your credit ain't right, that's not for another person who has good credit to figure out for you. You go pay somebody to do that, if that's the case. You know what I mean? But like a person that you're looking to be in a relationship with, they don't have to fix that for you. You know what I mean? They gotta co-sign on everything for you because you can't do it by yourself. Like, it shouldn't have to be that way. But we look for that, like you said, that expectation. We expect people to do those things for us. Why is it that because someone else has worked on something diligently and got something together on their own, they now have to do it for us because we're in a relationship with them? We're having sex with them, whatever, you're sharing your space with them. Now you have to take care of this for me, or you have to help me with this. I don't think so.
Your partner should be someone that helps you grow, but they shouldn't be like they shouldn't handicap you.
You shouldn't hold them as a crutch.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, carry me through this.
Yeah,
like,
you don't want to feel like you're a burden to someone. Like, I've learned this year, like, it's just people that want to help you will. People that won't. And that sounds so simple, but when you're codependent, when you feel like you have these voids that you want to fill because you don't want to take care of the necessary things that you need to fulfill in your life and only you can do, you want other people to do them. But at the end of the day, we have to have the courage, we have to have the strength, we have to have the will and the drive to do what it is that fulfills us. But when you're with other people and you're always surrounded around or in relationship, you don't really take the time to learn or to grow and understand where you went wrong or what necessary areas that you may need to work on. It could be simple, it could be small, but it's all in all, like, time is important. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, and if you don't give yourself time to think, if you don't give yourself time to be alone with whatever mistakes, whatever issues, whatever small mountains you need to climb over, if you don't give yourself that time to work on those things, then you're gonna be sitting, we're gonna be looking for other people to do that all our lives. You know what I mean? And it's just, I've learned that genuine connections come off of what I can give to a person and what they can give to me, not what that person can only give to me and then I'm just sitting back taking it all in. I wear that person out. I don't want someone to feel like I'm wearing them down. You know what I mean? People may not tell you that, but their actions will show you. You know what I mean? It's just like, at the end of the day, nobody is responsible to fix anything that you can fix.
Yeah, and it honestly doesn't even feel good going into the situation feeling like you're not enough.
Yeah.
You know, because if you feel like someone has to fix some things about you, it's because you feel like you're not enough. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And that's not even a good feeling. So you're not even bringing your best self forward, your best foot forward. You're not truthfully getting into the next point. It's hard to try to search for happiness in another person. You can't find happiness in another person. So being alone and finding solitude with yourself, finding what makes you happy, which is the next point. You have to find what makes you happy. You go into the situation knowing that, look, I am enough. Mm-hmm. I don't need you to complete me. I don't need you to fulfill me. I can go without you, truthfully, but I like to have you here. Which is way better than feeling like you have to have somebody there and that you have to have that person. And I think that is more so like feeling lonely than it is being alone, which is two different things. Like when you are lonely, you do look for other people to fulfill you. You look for other people to make you happy because you're not okay with being by yourself. You don't like who you are. You don't find value in who you are. And those things come from being alone. It's hard to understand what you bring, who you are, what you're capable of, what your skills, your talents, and those things are without finding solitude. So you got to sit with yourself. And I'm not trying to make this sound easy. It's not easy.
It's not at all.
But it gets easier over time. It's just like any other habit you create or you build. It gets easier over time, but I will say that I went through the struggles of feeling like not being with a person made me seem less than, made me seem like I wasn't enough or nobody wanted me. And even the lack of sexual interactions or stuff like that, even I told myself so many times that I needed that, you know what I mean? Like I felt like I needed those things in order to thrive. And then just now being celibate and being able to move forward without having sex, I'm like, this is a piece of cake. This is not so hard. But we talk ourselves out of things. We talk ourselves into believing that things are way harder than what they are. You gotta try it. You know what I mean? Yes. You have to actually do it. And also find comfort in being by yourself. Having hobbies is so important. You gotta find what you like. Busy. You gotta do things that you enjoy so you're not thinking about those other things that you gotta get from other people in order to feel good about yourself, You gotta find what makes you happy. Like there's so many hobbies that I've grown to understand that I love and that I enjoy to do on my own. And yes, I would probably love it 10 times more with another person, right? Yes. But I do enjoy doing it by myself, you know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with doing things alone. Although our society tells us that being alone means that you're crazy, you're not good enough, people don't want you because something's probably wrong with you, you're damaged goods or whatever the case is. But you can't let other people make who you are or tell you who you are. That's why it's important to find solitude, so you won't have to search for that in other people. You know what I mean?
Just fit the standard.
Right. Find what makes you happy.
Yeah, like you feel like you have to go with what people tell you, and when you don't spend time alone, you find yourself into people pleasing. Like you just tend to fulfill those other people's needs and you neglect yourself, and it's just like the needs that you have that you need to be fulfilled, they have to. Like you cannot neglect yourself. You cannot put this other person first because you just want them in your life and you value them. Like that's not it, because that
codependency.
That person, they won't even be fulfilled, because if you're not able to give yourself something that you're like, okay, let me break it down, because if you're trying to give somebody else something that you haven't even given yourself first, it's just not gonna feel right. You're always gonna have that empty feeling. You're gonna always feel incomplete, because at the end of the day, it should start with you. You know what I mean? You should be able to give whatever you're giving out, you should have already given to yourself. You know what I mean? And you shouldn't go into the situation feeling less than, feeling incomplete, feeling like, okay, it's this other person's responsibility to fulfill my happiness. It's just, that's not it. You have to, like he said, you know, our third point is just find what makes you happy. It is uncomfortable. Like, I've seen the meme where people are like, if you go out to eat by yourself, something is wrong with you. Or if you go to the movies by yourself, how can you do that? It's because you enjoy I love doing that. You have peace. When you're not able to do those things, that means you don't have no peace. So what if you don't have peace? That means you're not giving somebody else peace. And I found that when I'm giving off just unstable emotions, I've gotten the worst out of people. You know what I mean? Like, just nothing that I wanted or nothing that I valued, or it's just not what I feel like I needed in that moment. It was just a temporary fix. Like, that's why I value being able to do what's right in the moment for me. You know what I mean? And just knowing that I can stand up for myself and say that this is what I'm willing to give you. If it's not something that you're willing to accept, or it's not something that you feel like is going to fulfill your needs, then that person has the right to move forward. But if I don't know that for myself, then I'm just going to be in any kind of situation.
You're going to leave the situation feeling like you weren't enough. You didn't do enough. And you know, and truth of the matter is, what you have to offer is not always going to be what someone else wants, what they like, or what they feel like they need. But as long as you know that you're enough, you can move forward knowing that.
Yes.
So that's why I just truthfully feel like no one can complete you. You know what I mean? Because there is always somebody else that people feel can do better, you know what I mean? Or do differently, and that's subjective. But at the same time, if you have you, that won't really affect you to a point where you feel like you have nothing left.
Yes.
You know, it's just, it shouldn't take away from you at the end of the day.
No. Because you got you. You know what I mean? Like, people come and go, like he mentioned earlier. God forbid the person you're with passes away, or not even just that, but they move forward. They have that choice. They have the opportunity. But sometimes I feel like we have this desire and this will to have control so much. If we have control over everything, we may not get what we need. You know, we may get what we want, but is that lasting? Is that what is going to get us to that next best version of ourselves? You know what I mean? Like, the desires and the want, the need are two different things, and people come to show you what you want sometimes, but it's not always what you need. But if you know yourself, and if you're solid, if you have that time by yourself, you can definitely differentiate the two, and that's just really important. it's just knowing like, okay, am I gonna get what I need out of this situation or what I want? And how is this gonna add to the next step that I'm trying to take in my life? And it's like being alone has helped me to really just buckle down on being disciplined as well, and just staying tight to my boundaries like we talked about on the last episode, and just really having tunnel vision for me, you know what I mean, and just knowing what's important for myself, and just being able to take care of myself, because it's nobody else's responsibility to take care of me. At any given point, like, life, things happen, but you have to be able to take care of yourself, and just know that people are going to be in your life to help you, but they don't always have to just like be there to fill that void. Like we said that earlier, but it's just like, I don't want anybody that feels like they have to fill a void for me. I want them to feel valued and feel like, okay, they're in my life for a reason and a purpose, and what I'm asking them to give to me, I'm willing to give.
Yeah, because I mean, I feel like there is things that catch us at a time where we may be feeling down, you know what I mean? Because shit, look at 2020.
Yeah.
2020 has had us up and down, and just going through the, you know, so many emotions, and feeling like some of us felt like we didn't have tomorrow to live to and such. So it has you completely acting out of whack, doing things that you feel like you had to do because this is your moment to do it. And there is stuff that comes about, flashes in our face, and it seems so fulfilling. It's just a thrill, really.
Mm-hmm.
And with discipline and with knowing yourself and having solitude, you get to take a look at, okay, like you mentioned, is this something that I just want for now, or is this something that I truly need in order to take the next step or to move forward in life? Because people come and go, situations, you know, come in our face, you know, distractions, you know what I mean? That's why I mentioned before, like sex. Like, we think that going without sex is impossible. A lot of people see it as a need. People say, oh, well, people have needs that need to be met. I'm like, when has sex been a part of living? It is not food or water.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, you can go without having sex.
That.
We make it that because it is revealed to us so much. It is placed in front of us so much that we feel like, well, if the opportunity comes so much, isn't it something that we need? Isn't it something that we can take advantage of because it comes to us so much? I don't care how many people offer you sex, how many people ask to have sex with you. You do not need to have sex. You know what I mean? But you don't understand that until you figure out what it means to be solid. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You don't figure that out until you realize that there's a lot of girls being flued out. There's a lot of girls going on these little missions for quick money, quick cash, doing all these different things. If you understand your value, and you know that you know how to get up and go work for the things that you need, because you know that you have skills, because you've set with yourself, and you understand that you are way smarter, you know what I mean? You're capable of so much. You're much more valuable. You don't have to turn to those type of things. Mm-mm. That's why you have to have solitude. Yes. You have to be solid. You have to know that, look, at the end of the day, no matter what comes against me, no matter what comes in the face of me, I know that what I have is so much more valuable. You know what I mean? And I have me to lean on. I don't need those things, because those things are so temporary. They only last for the moment. We've all fallen victim to it. You know what I mean? Again, this is not easy.
No.
This is not something you're going to get overnight. You're not going to understand overnight. You're going to fall hella times. I fell on my face hella times learning that none of these things really, really matter. Mm-hmm. You know, but you get better and better over time. You go from going on those flings. You work at it. Yeah. You go from having hella flings to having less flings, to realizing that you could probably get yourself to a certain point and then stop it from happening, to get to a point of where you don't even waste your time with it at all. You know what I mean?
Like,
I won't even sit and have a conversation with you and play the game with you about, you know, talking back and forth about having sex if I know I'm not going to do that with you. You know, you get to that point. You go from doing it because you're low and you feel like you have no other choice, or you feel like everybody else is doing it, or this is going to fulfill you for the moment, to later saying that, look, I don't even need this. You know what I mean? Like, this is not important. I don't need this to live. I don't need this to move forward. I don't need this to feel okay with myself. I don't feel like I have to give you my body in order to feel okay with myself. Like, that's what it boils down to. I don't care what every other person makes it out to be on social media. You don't have to be out here fucking hella people to be somebody. Like, a lot of people, I feel like today, use that as some type of way to highlight that they're somebody. Like, I don't care if I'm having sex or no sex. It doesn't make me feel attractive or less attractive.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, even
who
being,
you are.
like, even with being celibate, like, I don't feel any less attractive than what I felt like when I was having sex. I really don't. If anything, I have learned so much about myself. I've learned what it means to be disciplined. And I've just learned to really value my body and understand that this is just not something you should be given to any and everybody. It's not. But you don't understand that until you find comfort and peace with being alone. And getting into the last point, you have to take your time. There's no rush. Like I said, it's not easy. So it's not a process that you want to rush, or feel like, even after hearing this video, that, oh, I gotta get to it quick so I could be peaceful, I could have peace. No, like, it is a process. Understand that like I said before, I have fallen victim to making a lot of mistakes, the same mistakes over and over again in some cases, until I've come to a point of realizing, okay, I'm going to make rid of that. I'm going to spend more time by myself so I can find what it is that I like, what it is that I enjoy. So people can't tell me what it is that I'm going to like. Oh, you going to like this shit? Nah, nigga, fuck that. You know what I mean?
You have to ask yourself,
no.
like, are you okay with what's going on right now? That's good. If you take that time to ask yourself, okay, if you question yourself, you should, because you need to know, how do you feel about what's going on? Because if you don't really know how you feel, definitely somebody's going to be able to tell you. And you're just going to go with it because you want that person to stay around. Like, it's just, being alone helps you to understand your value and your worth. Like you mentioned, like you realize that you don't feel the need to have sex with people to feel like you're a woman.
You realize that you didn't know as much about yourself as you thought you did. Just because you were born in this body and you spent however many years in it doesn't mean you know who you are. You don't really figure out who you are and a lot about yourself until you spend time with yourself. Like, I shocked myself with the things that I started to learn about myself with spending time by myself. I'm like, oh shit, you like that?
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah,
and that's
I like that. You know what I mean? Or the shit you don't like, you like, you start to think you start to think about how many times you've done something and you think that you probably like it, and you're like, I don't even know why I did that, because I really don't like that shit. You know what I mean? And you like gather all of that shit from really just being by yourself, but not only being by yourself, taking your time, being patient with yourself and gentle with yourself. Don't beat yourself up every time you make a mistake. Every time you repeat the same mistake, just get better. You know what I mean? Just do better and take a different shift. You know what I mean? Start to do things differently. Open your mind up to doing something outside of the norm. Like, if you're so used to blocking off your feelings, blocking out your thoughts, always going to people every time you have a problem, try this. Try sitting with yourself every time you're frustrated. Try sitting with yourself when you're frustrated sometimes. I won't say every time, but sometimes, versus always quickly going to people. Hey, what should I do about this? Try this. Try sitting with yourself first and saying, like, what should I do about this? You know what I mean? Like,
actually,
it's okay to talk to yourself too. I talk to myself all the time.
Same. Like,
all the time.
Definitely. And then not only just talking with yourself, don't hold back from experiences too.
Yeah.
Like that's most important, because if you just kind of like run from certain experiences or situations, you won't ever know how you will handle.
You don't get to apply anything.
Yeah, like you
right?
just kind of, you have this judgment or this idea of like, okay, this is how I will handle it, but you don't really know until you're in it. And if you make a mistake, it's cool. What's not cool is if you don't reflect on how you made that mistake. How can you better yourself, or how can you move forward differently overall? So I used to run from situations. Like I'd be like, nah, I'm not even gonna do that because I don't even want to go through that. I don't even want to even think about what could happen. You know what I mean? But until I actually went through certain situations, I realized, okay, like as far as with sex, I don't just want to be doing that with any and everybody. We see on social media where there's women that are okay with being open with their body and showing themselves, but there's some people like myself.
They
I'm just
say that to you. They say that for people to see on social media, but they don't show you the parts where they're at home sitting with themselves crying or feeling used and abused. They don't show you those parts, but
because
they don't have these type of conversations broadly like what we're doing. They just tell you that, oh, I'm getting flued out. Oh, bitch, I get dick every night. They're just telling you what seems great about it. I'm here to tell you that shit is fugazi.
It
is not.
You have feelings.
It is not. You have feelings like every other person does. It's just, are you putting them off, or are you sitting with them? Are you, like you said, reflecting on these things? And that's the difference. A wise person reflects on the things that they do, the things that they say. You know what I mean? And a fool puts it off.
Yeah.
And what do you want to be at the end of the day? Who do you want to be? Like, it's up for you to decide. And we're just at a point of our lives where we feel like it is so much more important to sit with the things that you're feeling, understand what you're feeling, and do something about it. You know what I mean? Like, most importantly, make a move, execute. Right. Don't just sit with ideas all day. Take those chances, have experiences, practice what you preach. You know what I mean? Like, actually step out into these things. And you know, when you feel like you're solid and you're ready, shit, go out there, get you somebody. You know what I mean? I'm not saying stay alone forever. I'm just saying find peace with it. Yes. If you are alone, don't feel like you're left out. You're washed goods, you're damaged goods. Like, understand why you're alone. You know what I mean? Like, and just,
there's value in it. It's not that you won't ever get to that point, you know what I mean, of being with somebody. You'll never get to that point if you don't take any steps, of course. But you know what I mean, like,
or you'll be with somebody and still feel
alone. And that's not what we were placed on this earth to do. You know what I mean? There is somebody for everybody. But if we don't know who we are, if we don't know what we want, how can we get that somebody? You know what I mean? We can always have experiences and things will come about. But the greatest thing, one of the lessons that I learned is that if you don't actually fully understand a situation or things that you go through, it's going to keep coming to you until you actually learn. And you know what I mean? And it doesn't matter how many times a situation comes about. It doesn't matter how many times the thing is shown to you. What matters the most is that, okay, you got over it. You know what I mean? Like it. Yeah, and it's on your time. Whether there's things that I've learned and there's things that Key has learned, and it's been at 2 different times, but I'm not gonna look at her like she's less than because if I learned something a lot sooner, or if she felt like she learned something a lot sooner than me, it's just we appreciate each other and we cheer each other on when we get it, because at the end of the day we want to see each other win. You know what I mean?
Just like we want to see y'all win.
Yes,
that's why we're sharing this information. Like, most importantly, this is not just to blabber on about things. Like, we want to share this because, like, as young women, we had to endure a lot of things and we had to figure out some things on our own. Like, we weren't shown a lot of things. You know, we come from situations where we had to really just figure a lot out on our own. So we feel like it is almost just our duty or our purpose really to share this information and to help people like you who feel like you haven't gathered this information or you don't have someone to show you. We just want to share it so you can, possibly learn something from it or share it with someone who can. And that's what we do this for. That's what Cocktails and Confidence is about. It is those conversations that most people don't share. Hoping that we can reach someone like you.
Yes.
So yeah, we
already know.
want you to find peace in being alone. There is beauty in it. I'm telling you, you learn so much about yourself. Like, it is great. It is like one of the best things I ever did was to decide to take the time out to be alone, to find myself, to learn who I am, what I like, what I enjoy, what I don't like, what I don't like. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Set boundaries.
It's okay.
All those things that you do when you have time with yourself, because you don't want someone else setting your boundaries. You don't want someone else deciding what you like and what you don't like. So don't look for people to fill you or fulfill you or complete you in relationships, because, whether that's a friendship, partnership, whatever, because no one else gets the right to decide that for you. You know what I mean? You shouldn't even want to hand that right over to anybody. Yeah. So, yes.
You got you.
Stay true to yourself.
Yes.
Love
Believe
yourself.
in yourself. Love
Find
yourself.
solitude.
Value yourself.
Yes.
Regardless if somebody has a different opinion from you. Value you.
Yep. Enjoy this
Speak
journey.
your truth.
Enjoy it.
Enjoy the whole process.
Don't feel like you're being left out or you're behind. Enjoy the journey. Take your time and just take each and every step. Don't skip any steps. So we thank you so much for tuning in as always. Until next time.
Y'all better like, subscribe, share, comment.
Yes.
All of that.
My name's Key.
And my name is Smooth.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.